You stand up and feel it again. Legs that used to carry you without thought now hesitate. You reach for the table, pretending it's just to grab something. The stairs feel taller than they did last year. Your walk has shortened, but you haven't admitted it out loud. You tell yourself it's just normal aging, that everyone slows down eventually. But deep down, there's a flicker of fear. Is this the beginning of the end? You remember people who lost their balance, who stopped walking long distances, who needed canes, walkers, help. You wonder if you will be next. The fear isn't just about falling, it's about losing control, losing your independence, losing yourself. And no one talks about that moment, the quiet realization that your own body might be drifting away from you. So you downplay it, shrug it off, push through the shakiness, but it doesn't stop, it lingers. You try to avoid noticing how hard it is to get up from the couch or how your legs tremble when you stand too long. You make excuses, bad shoes, not enough sleep, weather changes, anything but what you're truly afraid of, that your legs are giving out, that you're on a slow, inevitable slope toward immobility. But what if you're wrong? What if this isn't your legs failing you? What if they're trying to warn you? Warning you that something's off, not ending, but responding. That the change in strength, the shakiness, the fatigue, aren't signs of collapse, but signals. Signals asking for attention, for a shift, for the one response most people never think to give. We're told that weak legs after 60 are just part of the deal. That once you reach a certain age, muscles vanish, energy dips, and stairs become a challenge. Doctors, friends, even family reinforce it. It's normal. That's aging. Slow down, take it easy. So you accept it. You adjust your expectations. You stop questioning it. But here's the lie. Your body isn't just surrendering to time, it's adapting to how you live. Less movement? It gives you less strength. More sitting? It supports you less when you stand. It's not a collapse, it's a conversation. Your legs aren't giving up on you. They're responding to the signals you send every day. And the most dangerous myth isn't that aging brings weakness, it's that you can't do anything about it. That belief alone causes more damage than aging ever could. Because once you believe it's fate, you stop resisting. You stop fighting back. You stop listening. You miss the moment where strength could have been restored, when circulation could have been revived, when nerves could have been protected. The truth? You're not losing muscle because you're aging. You're losing it because your body hasn't been asked to keep it. You tell yourself it's normal, that everyone your age is slowing down, that maybe it's time to take it easy. You start rearranging your life without realizing it. You choose the chair closest to the door. You park a little closer to the store. You stop reaching for that high shelf or crouching to get what's under the sink. And each time, your body records the decision like a vote. I don't need to be strong for this. At first, it's subtle, just a little less confidence when walking across uneven ground, a little more hesitation stepping into the tub. But then one morning, you notice it. Your knees ache when standing. Your thighs don't feel stable. You grip the armrest before rising. That inner voice whispers again, "It's just age." But here's what really happens. The moment you stop challenging your muscles, even in small, daily ways, they begin to atrophy. And unlike when you were young, they don't bounce back without effort. Muscle fibers shrink, tendons tighten, circulation slows. Nerves that once fired like a drumbeat begin to miss their cues. Your balance, so often taken for granted, starts slipping quietly until one day, reaching for something off the floor becomes a calculated risk. This isn't just about physical discomfort. This is about erosion, not only of muscle, but of independence, of dignity, of choices. You start declining invitations. Lunch with friends turns into excuses. You say it's because of the weather or the traffic, but really, it's fear. Fear of being slow, fear of falling, fear of being seen as less. You stay home more, which means you move less, which means your body tightens more, and the spiral continues. And the worst part? This all began not with some catastrophic injury, but with a quiet belief that leg weakness was inevitable. When you believe decline is unavoidable, your habits change, and those habits write your future. Studies show that seniors who reduce their movement due to fear or assumptions about aging experience up to 30% faster decline in muscle mass, balance, and cognitive function. That's not aging. That's adaptation to inactivity. And the more you sit, the more the body forgets what it means to stand with confidence. Emotionally, it hits even deeper. You begin to feel less like yourself. The person who used to walk for hours, garden, climb stairs without a second thought, that person feels far away. You start to resent your body, or worse, feel betrayed by it. Every effort feels harder. Every movement feels like a risk. So, you move less. And with each step you don't take, the distance between who you are and who you once were grows wider. There's a loneliness in this that no one talks about. Because it's not just the loneliness of being home alone, it's the loneliness of losing a part of yourself. You might still be surrounded by people, still loved, still supported, but inside, you carry the quiet ache of knowing you're drifting from the life you want to live. From the confidence to go where you want, when you want. From the freedom to make your own coffee, grab your own bag, pick up your grandchild without hesitation. And then the moment arrives. The fall. It could be a slip in the kitchen, a trip on the rug, a slow-motion tumble that ends with you on the floor, heart racing, unsure how to get up. For many, this is the wake-up call. But for others, it becomes the beginning of full dependence. One fall can lead to months of recovery, fear-based inactivity, or worse, a permanent shift to canes, walkers, or assisted living. And again, it didn't start with the fall. It started with the belief, the myth that this was all going to happen anyway. Even those who haven't fallen often live in fear of it. And that fear does the damage before the fall ever comes. It shrinks your world. It turns everyday moments into calculations. Can I make it to the end of the block? Will I be able to carry these groceries? What if I slip in the shower? That constant internal questioning becomes exhausting. It chips away at your joy, your spontaneity, your sense of self. All because of one belief, that weak legs were an unavoidable sign of age. This belief doesn't just cost you strength, it costs you moments. Moments where you could have said yes. Moments where you could have felt proud of your body instead of afraid of it. It costs you confidence. It costs you connection. It costs you the small freedoms that make life rich. Walking barefoot through grass, dancing to music in the kitchen, getting up easily after playing with your grandchild on the floor. You don't notice them disappearing until one day you realize you haven't done any of those things in years. And yet all along, the signal was there. Your body wasn't giving up. It was warning you, whispering, I need movement. I need support. I need care. And you, trusting the myth, mistook that whisper for defeat. You accepted decline instead of responding to it. But here's the truth. Loss of muscle is not destiny. Weakness is not permanent. The cost of believing the myth is high, but it's not irreversible. Because the same way your body adapted to sitting, it can adapt to standing, to walking, to lifting, to reclaiming, but only if you stop telling yourself the lie that this is just what happens after 60. Because the moment you stop believing that, the moment you say, maybe there's more I can do, you take your first real step back, not just to strength, but to freedom. You've been taught to fear the feeling of weakness in your legs, as if it's the beginning of the end, as if it's a sentence written into your biology the moment you cross some invisible age line. But weakness isn't the end. It's the body raising a hand, whispering through tight calves, shaky knees, and sluggish steps. Something needs your attention, because what we call aging is often just accumulation of habits, neglect, imbalances, and every one of those can be interrupted. Let's start with the most obvious: muscle loss. Yes, it happens naturally after 60, a process called sarcopenia. But it's not automatic, and it's not irreversible. In fact, studies show that even in your 70s and 80s, with just 2 to 3 sessions of light resistance training per week, you can regain strength. Your muscles are still listening, still willing to grow if you give them the right signal. Then there's nerve slowdown. This one feels scarier because it shows up subtly. Less coordination, slower reactions, a bit of numbness or tingling. But nerves don't fail in isolation. They depend on nutrients, blood flow, and stimulation. When you sit for hours and avoid varied movement, your nervous system doesn't get challenged. But when you reintroduce movement, slow ankle rolls, gentle leg lifts, even just shifting weight from side to side, you remind the nerves they have a job to do. Circulation is another piece. Blood carries oxygen and nutrients to your muscles, joints, and nerves. But when movement stops, circulation slows. That leads to cold feet, fatigue, even swelling. You might think it's just bad veins or bad luck, but often it's the stillness that comes from the myth. You stop moving because you think you're too weak to move, when in fact, moving is how the blood moves too. Spinal compression doesn't sound like a leg problem, but it's often the hidden culprit. When your spine compresses due to posture, lack of stretching, or years of desk sitting, it can pinch nerves and alter the signals sent down to your legs. That lower backache? It might be a traffic jam affecting your thighs, calves, even feet. And it doesn't always require surgery. Sometimes it just takes gentle decompression, like hanging from a bar, child's pose, or specific stretches done daily. And then there's the silent saboteur, electrolyte imbalance. As we age, our bodies become more sensitive to hydration and minerals. Low magnesium, potassium, or calcium can cause leg cramps, fatigue, even balance issues. And the worst part? Many seniors drink less water to avoid frequent bathroom trips, unknowingly draining their system of what keeps their muscles firing. But small shifts, a glass of water with sea salt and lemon in the morning, a handful of nuts, a banana, magnesium before bed, can recalibrate the system within days. Here's the truth most people miss. These 5 causes aren't age. They're conditions. They're states your body is in based on what it's been given or not given. They're not fixed. They're not fate. They're feedback loops. And once you understand that, you stop fearing the feeling of weakness and start listening to it. Because weakness is a message, a signal, a request for attention, not a prediction of doom. And when you learn how to read that signal, whether it's from your muscles, your spine, your nerves, or your diet, you begin to shift from victim to participant, from resignation to recalibration. This is the shift no one teaches. Your body isn't falling apart, it's falling into patterns. And patterns can be changed. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to train like an Olympian or reverse time. You just need to interrupt the loop. That loop of sitting, aching, avoiding, weakening. You break it by walking to the end of the block and back, by adding more minerals to your water, by stretching your spine for 5 minutes each morning, by waking your nerves with intentional movement, by feeding your muscles with real protein, real blood flow, real care. Weakness doesn't mean the body has stopped working. It means it's trying to communicate. And if you learn how to hear it, you can respond. And that's the hidden truth. You're not powerless. Your body is not the enemy. It's a partner in decline or in recovery. It all depends on whether you keep ignoring the whispers or decide to listen. You've been taught to fear complexity, that the only way to fix your body is through giant changes, big gym routines, expensive supplements, painful stretches, that it takes grit and sacrifice. But the truth is much quieter, more human. It takes rhythm. Your legs don't need punishment. They need repetition. Small, gentle reminders that they're still alive. And they respond far better to habit than to heroics. It starts in the morning. Before the coffee, before the stiffness settles, before your mind tells you, not today. Sit on the edge of your bed and do 5 slow squats. No weight, no mirrors, just your body learning again. Down, up, down, up. That's circulation. That's signal. That's you choosing motion over fear. Then, breakfast. Not toast or cereal, but something that speaks to your nerves and muscles. A magnesium-rich meal, maybe oatmeal with pumpkin seeds and a sprinkle of cacao, or scrambled eggs with spinach. This isn't diet culture. This is fuel for your recovery system. Magnesium helps relax muscles, stabilize nerves, and prevent the silent cramping that weakens legs without warning. Hydration isn't optional anymore, but water alone isn't enough. A pinch of sea salt, a splash of lemon, or a low-sugar electrolyte packet turns plain water into medicine for your muscles. This keeps the signals firing from brain to foot, literally. Then, as you move through your day, stop waiting for the right time to exercise. Rebuild strength in the in-between. Standing in line at the kitchen counter, lift one leg for 10 seconds. Switch. Waiting for the microwave, march in place. Each of these micro movements keeps the pattern alive. Your legs remember what they repeat. Vitamin D isn't just about bones. It's about muscle strength and inflammation. You don't need a prescription. Just step outside. Let your skin breathe. Let your joints stretch in the sun. Even 10 minutes a day can shift your internal chemistry in ways no pill ever could. And perhaps most powerful of all, walk. Not fast, not far, just walk daily. Around the house, to the end of the block. With a friend, with a dog. Alone, with a podcast. It doesn't matter how you do it. What matters is that your legs are reminded that they still serve a purpose, that you still need them, that you still trust them. And here's where the magic happens. When you pair your actions, you create rhythm. Movement plus nutrition. Stretching plus breath. Sunlight plus mindset. When you live in rhythm, Your body starts recalibrating. No stress, no fear, just biology doing what it's always known how to do: adapt. Because you don't need to be younger, you need to be more consistent. And no, you don't need equipment. You don't need a gym. You don't even need to leave your house. You need presence, a decision, and the courage to start with 5 leg raises before your tea boils. That's the new paradigm. These are not hacks. They're not shortcuts. They're signals sent in the right direction. And each time you send one, each time you stand, move, stretch, feed, you're teaching your legs that they are still needed, still vital, still part of the story. It's not about doing more. It's about doing something every day. The truth no one told you is this: your body is waiting for your return. Not to youth, but to partnership, to connection. And when you respond with rhythm, it responds with strength. And over time, weeks, not months, you'll notice it. Stairs that don't intimidate, balance that feels secure, mornings that don't start in pain. You'll walk a little taller, a little steadier, a little more like yourself. Because the answer to weak legs isn't struggle, it's rhythm. And rhythm starts now. Of course, here's part 6 in full text block form, same style as before. Ruth, 79, struggled with cramps and a fear of falling. It started after a mild stumble in her kitchen. Nothing serious, just a slip. But from that day on, she hesitated, held walls, counted steps. Her legs felt foreign, like they weren't hers anymore. She hated stairs, avoided them, skipped outings. Her daughter suggested a walker. That was the final blow. But Ruth didn't give up. Not fully. She started with one thing: a squat by the bed each morning. It burned. She winced. But she did it. The next week, she added a banana to breakfast, potassium for the cramps. Then a breath, a deep, slow inhale before she stood. She noticed her balance felt steadier. She wasn't gripping the furniture as tightly. By week 3, she added boiled eggs and spinach. Simple protein, iron. Her appetite returned. Her mood lifted. She even stepped out onto the porch in the morning to feel the sun on her arms. Vitamin D, light, rhythm. Then, something strange happened. Her legs stopped cramping at night. She didn't panic when reaching for the cereal on the high shelf. She even laughed again, really laughed, when her niece asked her to dance at a family barbecue. She said yes. They danced. Nothing fancy, just a slow shuffle. But Ruth didn't cry because she felt old. She cried because she felt present, capable, alive. And it wasn't some miracle cure. No surgeries, no boot camps. Just one squat, one banana, one breath. That's how it begins. That's how the legs and life start coming back. But there's one habit most seniors still ignore. The first thought that enters your mind after waking up. Before your legs even hit the floor, something else decides your strength. It's not the stretch. It's not the breakfast. It's not the vitamin. It's the tone, the silent message you send to your body the moment your eyes open. Most people miss it. They let dread win before the day begins. They sigh, brace, slump forward, and the body follows. Energy dips, choices worsen, legs stiffen, because the brain already gave the order. Today will be hard. But what if you could intercept that moment? Change just one sentence? What if the way you speak to your body shapes how it responds? Before food, before steps, before pain. It's subtle, mental, invisible, but powerful.